We have more Sarah Boone letters. These are alimony letters, and I have to thank everyone in the comments for repeatedly telling me these are floating around out there and that I should cover them. These particular screen grabs I'm going to be using are from Mo in the Deep End. I decided to do screen grabs like this because I just think it'll be easier for me to keep track, and I can do this in smaller segments when I find time throughout today. Also, in the pinned comment, I'm going to have Mo in the Deep End's video. Make sure you drop a like and check out their coverage. I did not watch their coverage first. I tried to not read as much of this as I could. I want to go into this as blind as possible. Let's dive in. Mr. Martell, I am in receipt of your letter requesting a date to be set for former husband's, she puts husbands in quotes, petition to modify, but have a few concerns and questions before doing so. First, I would like to make it known I have been diagnosed with cancer. Right off the rip. That is actually really, really important, because is she going to use this as an argument at sentencing? And I'm awaiting outside professional medical consult and treatment options. I do not know the level of severity, duration of time, or outcome of any of this, nor the effect it will have on my case, which I am currently incarcerated for, which would be the case she just was found guilty of second-degree murder for, or in the case at hand with former husband. As said in my previous letter, no one has a crystal ball. I do not know 4 months in advance my location or status, making it impossible to determine let me find here, the best date to choose from which you have proposed. With that being said, my concerns, questions are as follows. What are the requirements under Florida law stating a mediation needs to be scheduled for the petition to modify? Please provide documentation so I can understand the practices, procedures, and protocols for this area of family law and can abide accordingly. I can also have a general timeline of what to expect if possible, other than a letter from your firm telling me what I have to do. Please provide copies of all documents to be discussed, which includes original marriage paperwork, pre-modifications, to see and compare specifically what is being requested to be modified. Please send contact information, location, and credentials of the selected mediator, Karen Middlecoff, Esquire. What is her affiliation with the Martell firm? How was she selected? Will former husband be in attendance? Who all will be included in during this meeting? Who is the judge overseeing this case and receiving copies of all correspondence, signing, approving paperwork? Is there going to be an agenda for discussion during the meeting to be received in advance for preparation and review? What if selected date has to be changed due to unforeseen complications or circumstances? Will I be penalized, rescheduled? Is the point of this mediation to try to force me into signing an agreement the only terms available presented by former husband, or are modifications going to be allowed for discussion also in order for both parties to be included in the final agreements for with the best possible outcome? What if I do not agree? How is a video conference scheduled? Will this be a private meeting? Is face-to-face an option? As said, I do not know what date is best for me considering my current situation, with an S, situations, and now health complications. By answering and explaining further the aforementioned concern and questions will most definitely assist in my decision making. Your expedited response is greatly appreciated, as well as providing all requested documents and information. Thank you in advance for your assistance, patience, and cooperation. I am continuing my pursuit of seeking representation and still doing everything I can with the minute amount of resources I have available. I am not giving up in any way, so again, thank you all for who are involved for your patience. I look forward to your response. Sincerely, Sarah Boone. And this is a new one to Judge Dean. After coming back from an outside medical appointment for my cancer and surgery, I really wanted to call my son and hear his voice and brighten my long, arduous day. In doing so, he was checking the mail, telling me I had a letter from you and wanted to be helpful and read for me. The document was an order to dispense mediation, stating the order was granted by you. 2 parties can move forward, meaning former husband and his attorney, as I'm just told what to do and have no representation. The case is set for trial when the court remains over jurisdiction in this instance case. What does that mean? When my 11-year-old was finished reading, his response was, so this is supposed to be what her 11-year-old said. I'm sorry, I don't know what Dad's trying to do now. I myself am trying to figure out what new underhand. So that, okay, there's the end of the quote there. I was going to say this cannot be the 11-year-old. I myself am trying to figure out what new underhanded terror he's attempting. so I decided to call him directly and ask, why was this sent to him and not me, the other party? What else am I not receiving or being informed about regarding this matter? Why did he not communicate anything with me or with me during any of the multitudinous phone calls and we've had since this order was granted or prior to even being generated, so this could be avoided? I call almost every day to speak to my son, then call former husband during the day while my son is at school to try and attempt having reasonable conversations, discussions about personal matters such as this. I am trying to alleviate any additional difficulties and am constantly coming up with solutions and everything to work with former husband to complete the process in a positive, fair, and accurate manner. So Sarah Boone is saying she's calling her son daily and her husband daily, and she is the one coming up with solutions. This is sounding very, to me, of course, that I've gone through the trial, I've gone through everything, very much how she micromanaged George, and I'm starting to wonder if maybe even while dating George, was she also doing this level of management to her ex-husband? How can this be done now? The mediation has been dispensed. Both parties could have figured something out instead of just canceling completely. Former husband could have explained his intentions to help understand my circumstances better and being unable to choose a date for mediation 4 months in advance on top of my cancer, on top of my trial. I simply asked for help from former husband and his attorney and yourself, your honor, to provide information so I could choose even if the date had to be changed. I, the other party, was bypassed and ignored completely with no explanation from anyone. I wasn't even, or ever, it could be either here, able to respond in a more timely manner because I never received the order or knew was granted until my son happened to check the mail that day and read it to me. And you're going to see like these dots here. This is bleed over, I'm assuming, from the other page due to the ink. So I'm going to possibly struggle at some point. Again, I haven't pre-read. This mediation is all I have to be rightly heard and utilize my rights as a mother and human being or to be seen in a clearer light, not as the one-sided, ugly, unfair, slanderous everything said by former husband. I attempted to be professional and correspond with everyone. I explained my situation and simply asked for some important documents to be better prepared, as this would probably be my only opportunity to make myself count in all of this. I asked how to set up a video and asked face-to-face was an option. My requests and questions were all an attempt to choose a date and schedule this much needed, very important mediation. I included you also, Judge Dean, after being instructed by former husband's attorney to correspond to him, so you would know my attempt, request, willingness to cooperate, as well as my eagerness to complete. I simply asked for paperwork to review as I do not have any, and am accused by former husband of being difficult and uncooperative by not signing documents I've never seen or knew existed until being served with a summons notifying me of his means to take all I have left other than the marrow from my bones. Not being dramatic at all. Please understand, I never said no. Or that I was going to schedule. I want to be at my best possible with all information for my review beforehand, as would former husband, be in his attorney, but not myself unless I requested. Why am I being penalized for wanting to be prepared? Why was no explanation or reason given or discussed for canceling the mediation? Why was no attempt made to make sure I, the other party, and the other parent was included along with everyone else to have the same understanding of what was happening? Why was my copy of this order not sent to me at my current location instead of to former husband, who already knew since he was the one who generated the plan? How would I have known any of this if not found and read by my son? Completely unfair and wrong. I am being penalized for doing everything I am supposed to be doing, and for my attempts to show my heartfelt desire and determination to be a part of this, to rightfully be the other party. If I have to go through this too, on top of everything else, I will and am. I should not be held against me to correspond, make my basic requests, and ask questions to choose the correct armor of choice for this mediation and ongoing battle, so I can confidently explain myself and fight for my rights and to be the mother I am and will always be. I ask for nothing out of the ordinary. Any caring, competent mother human would not themselves ask for in the situation as mine. Also, in the letter to me from former husband's attorney providing me mediation dates to choose from, 7/5/2022, have you seen? It specifically states, please respond to this correspondence within 20 days of receipt with your preferred date and attendance method. Otherwise, we will unilaterally schedule the conference and send you the details. I did with my request to help give a better understanding. Why wasn't this unilaterally scheduled as stated? It was canceled. Would it have been better on my part to have just not corresponded at all so this mediation could have been unilaterally scheduled? I feel if I had not made my willing and eager attempt to abide by everyone's rules and played the part of the terrible low-life inmate former husband and what not seems to be that by everyone else wants me to be, I would be preparing, reviewing, working around this unilaterally scheduled mediation I do not understand, and no one has made any attempt to help me to. Honorable Dean, please understand this mediation is everything and can help ease the ongoing pain of whatever former husband's daily terror is he chooses to inflict, makes me beg pitifully for pictures which I still have not received, has me call every week to ask for commissary funds so I can purchase necessities and sugar for my glucose concerns. Then he says no, refuses the occasional hot meal on a Sunday. I was made to cry over a cheeseburger when explaining to him the amount of weight I am continuously losing weekly due to being sick, and thought this would help me gain by eating. I was still told no. So she's claiming that she has glucose concerns that aren't being met unless she receives money. So at first, I thought this was just going to be, so far, I thought this was just going to be about maybe, from my understanding, he wanted to move with the son away from where they previously were, maybe farther away from the jail. But it's sounding like it's money as well, so it would be the alimony. But I think the jail would take care of glucose concerns, right? Like, I think they legally have to. And as much as saying it would help her gain weight, a comment that was said by a lot of people, I don't think I ever said it, but a lot of people in my comments said it, is that Sarah appeared to have put on considerable weight compared to her incarceration. Like her arrest day at the interview, and they weren't calling her fat. They were just saying that she's back up to what appears to be a more healthy weight because she was relatively skinny. But again, this is 2022, so things could have changed, right? As far as I am aware, the dissolution of marriage agreement regarding alimony, I should have just kept reading, which I did sign, is still and has been in effect, meaning I have funds available to purchase the aforementioned I've been doing previously with no problem, conflict, or difficulty. Everything was non-confrontational and smooth running until former husband implemented or trying to these inaccurate, unnecessary modifications. The relief he is seeking could have been avoided until he decided to involve our son and my maternal rights. So, sounds like the husband started the legal process of cutting her off. She was getting $1,000 a month, so that was before she went in. If that amount continued while in there, he might have thought enough is enough. The relief he is seeking could have been avoided until he decided to involve our son in my maternal rights. Again, one obscure, unfortunate incident does not or will ever define who I am. And wait. One obscure, unfortunate incident. Oh my God. Please tell me that is not her descriptor of the second-degree murder of George Torres. I'm gonna do something. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, unless something says otherwise, that this obscure, unfortunate incident is something else. You might disagree. I shouldn't give that to her. Maybe I should. I'm going to give it to her because that is... I mean, she wasn't convicted at this point, but he did die. And I cannot, even with Sarah Boone, what I expect of her, I have low expectations. I cannot imagine her referring to her boyfriend suffocating to death in a suitcase she zipped him into as one obscure, unfortunate incident. I have to give her the benefit of the doubt unless she says something different. Again, I told you, I'm going into this blind because I didn't... I wanted my real reaction, right? Does not or will ever define who I am and makes no difference where I am for former husband to think I am unable to make meaningful moralistic decisions involving our son. Regardless of my circumstances, this mediation will allow a just and fair opportunity for both parties to be equally heard. I can make everyone aware I am someone unworthy, most of all for and to my son. Please, Your Honor, please allow the mediation to be scheduled. Please take into consideration everything I have graciously said and explained, everything I still want to say, and have a right to please, or provide another suggestions with some kind of facilitator to give a neutral opinion and assistance to both parties to work together. Two parties, two sides, two voices. How else can I be heard, seen, or accounted for? I too have defining points for discussion, and my understanding was it was part of the reason for mediation and to aid in a fair, reasonable outcome for both parties. For compromises to be made, not controlling demands, specific details need to be discussed regarding all of the agreements, as some I have not even seen. The supplemental petition for modification of final judgment and joint stipulation for modification, the most recent. What is there pre-modifications for all? This being why I requested these documents. In summary, so because I have nothing and no one former husband having attorney, multiple monetary resources, a familiar support system, and so with the unlimited resources in every way, I am just to accept defeat unfairly, be okay with everything. I am saddened how the justice system is so unjust and able to help people as myself, who were once advocates for. I voted in jail and raised to believe in the safety, indivisibility, goodness, and the truth of, and what honor is supposed to be, and where it can always be found. In this point of my life, I am severely disappointed. What do I have to say? Anything to say different or show for? Where is my testimony? Where is my testimony? It really is just. I've communicated with everyone, tried to explain everything to make my efforts known. I have no access to a computer to check my status in this, documents being filed, no access to make viable phone calls to worthwhile agencies asking for assistance due to unauthorized numbers per OCCD rules. I can't even contact former husband's attorney to ask my questions and voice my concerns directly. I've written so many letters I've lost count. I've tried everything, still trying in every way. What else can I do, Judge Dean? Please allow the mediation. Please help me in however you can. Please don't just show me where to sign former husband's unfair, incorrect paperwork. Any act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. Aesop. Really? Really? Thank you for always for your time, review, and understanding. For future reference and correspondence, please make sure to use my address as follows. Sarah Boone. It has her address that I'm not including. Please be fair and see my point of view and determination. I try desperately every day to come up with solutions for and in everything. The reason I am again contacting you directly and praying you are able to use your right, proper, unprejudiced judgment and authority to help someone as myself finally have testimony to the struggle which I have been long overdue. I patiently await. Again, I am grateful. Thank you. Sincerely, Sarah Boone. So this is going to be the first batch I screenshotted. I'm going to have to go back in and get more. So in this, we have Sarah Boone claiming cancer, possibly needing surgery, things that I've not heard before, but maybe I missed it somewhere. She is going for the alimony, and she's also disagreeing with what they're doing with the son, which I believe the attempt was to move. So she says she's calling her son daily, says that she's calling her husband daily too, or trying to. On to the next part. Judge Dean, forgive me in advance. I am inadvertently lagging in the progress and updates of my case and need your assistance to help please provide clarification and explanation for multiple legitimate concerns I have that are hindering my right to be included in my case fully, honestly, correctly. This past Friday, September 9th, 2022, I received a copy of the order for the case management conference for September 19th, 2022 at 3:30. The order was done and ordered on Monday, August 22nd, 2022. The copy of the order was postmarked Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. Why was I not just mailed this the same day it was signed? Why were only former husband and his attorney in the receipt? Why was I finally mailed a copy 2 weeks after completion? What I have received last month, I could have had ample time to prepare and make arrangements to respond sooner. How is this acceptable? Your Honor, why am I not being included on and in everything the same time everyone else is? I am either not at all mailed pertinent information updates that's sent to the wrong person, or I'm receiving last minute made to scramble with the ongoing fear and threat of not being included. It is not by choice either. Do you all not understand, remember, or care that I am the other party, the respondent in this case? The way I am being treated by all other parties is wrong, unjust, seems unlawful, given the appearance I don't care due to lack of responses and the extended length of time I take when I do from not receiving my needed documents to respond accordingly. Now, I have only 5 days from receiving my copy on my end, which includes the time it takes for you to even receive this letter, to prayerfully grant permission to me so I can be included at the case management conference in my case next Monday. I do not have a legal representative or steward to also be included on this conference on my behalf, making my efforts and attempts more desperate and my want more ferocious. Honestly, my big feeling right now is, why the hell are you writing all of this instead of just the pertinent, important information so the judge can get through it? This is a pulpit, to use a term that, gets used a lot in this case. I don't think she's doing herself any favors with all of this extra. Judge Dean, please understand. Please see my determination. Never-ending hurdles continuously being pushed in front of me or thrown when I keep having to learn how to jump higher and higher and higher. Just know, with my heartfelt will, my honorable cause, and unbridled love for my son and my rights to be his mother, to be able to make competent, important, valid decisions in his life, I'm going to learn how to fly over the hurdles in this case, my other case, and my battle with cancer. So cancer is still brought up. And any other health issue I'm dealing with. Fly. I'm not going to jump anymore. It's my right to be heard, seen, and respected. So Sarah Boone is going to fly. Let's see this. As the person and mother I am, it is not right in any way for me to be ignored, biased, automatically overruled because I am with no family or support system. So here's the thing. We're only getting this from Sarah Boone's end. I don't know if they're doing anything wrong. I don't know about the Florida court system with like family court like this, with her being incarcerated on such serious charges. I don't know if they're doing anything wrong or if she just feels they're doing it wrong. I am not mute. I am not mentally retarded or impaired. I am a loving, determined mother, friend, teacher, supporter. I am also an ex-wife. That ex-husband needs to conclude will always be in our son's life and his, and come to acceptance of the situation, which nonetheless is temporary. No, Sarah. No. No. He does not always have to be. You do not. First off, your son, even if the courts give you some rights to like speak to him or whatever, there comes a point where he can cut you off. You do not have that control over your son. And you definitely do not have any control to be in your ex-husband's life beyond court-ordered alimony and child handoffs, things like that. I think I mentioned in the previous one that it sounds like she was treating her ex-husband like she treated George. She's showing here that she believes she's entitled to a lot of things that she isn't. Now, if none of this happened, would Sarah be someone who would probably complain if her son wasn't constantly messaging her and her ex-husband still wasn't in contact? I think so. I think Sarah believes, and this is my personal opinion, you can disagree. From everything I've watched and heard and everything, seen her own writing, I think she feels entitled to her ex-husband taking care of her forever and being constantly involved. And come to an acceptance of the situation, which nonetheless is temporary. Here, there, whatever. Now, then, future former husband is going to have to respectfully deal with me one way or another. We have a child together. Again, that is not forever. He doesn't have to deal with you because you had a child forever. That's not like it's not a noose around his neck, an anchor weighing him down. When that child gets old enough that he can legally make the decision that he wants to cut contact with you, that's it. For both of them. So the sooner he comes to terms with all of this, the sooner the beginning of his hard sought-after relief can start. He and whoever else also needs to remember that crystal balls are a novelty. I'm doing everything in every way to stay afloat and still be a part of everything involved in my son's life and mine. In the meantime, I have been provided relief to former husband in numerous ways on a daily basis. I have been providing relief to former husband in numerous ways on a daily basis. How? is her version of helping him calling him to complain? Because she's in jail. What else could she be doing? Nothing was as difficult or tumultuous until he decided to devise his scheming, manipulative plans and agreements. No one would know this because no one has given me a chance to be part of anything. Although the playing field is completely uneven and the odds are stacked so high against me, I can't see the top and I have nothing. I'm going to fly. With that being said, and unfortunately at the last minute now, you have received and read this with only a couple of days remaining before the conference. I want to be entitled to be in attendance, however necessary, so I am rightfully updated. I'm not against her being updated, but the way she words her son and her ex-husband almost like their property, can't get behind it. I can't get behind it. President, and most importantly, included for preparation for the upcoming hurdles futuristically. What needs to be done so I can be there? And she just gives the public Orange County Courthouse address. Transport order video setup. Telephonic conference must be court ordered per the instructions of the copy of order setting the hearing. How? It is not right if I am unable to attend this due to last-minute attempted arrangements being made for me to do so. Would I have received the information when everyone else did 2 weeks ago? Timely plans could have been made and scheduled just as the order was on August 22nd, 2022. Today, it's September 9th, 2022. And finally, for whatever reason, I am just now aware is scheduled. Please instruct me. I need to do so. I can cooperate and greatly increase my opportunity to be there. However, I can validate and educate when no one listens, cares, or is in front of me. Thank you as always for your invaluable time and considerations are much needed. Overdue assistant. Who else is there? Honorable Dean. I'm also still waiting for your response from my most recent letter sent to you. So she's responding before getting a response. August 17th, 2022, regarding another order dispensing mediation I never received and was only made aware was generated by my 11-year-old son reading to me due to being sent to his address. Please provide an update for that as well. Also, in the order for the conference, I am graciously requested to be included in part of on page 2 of 2, where all parties were sent a true and correct copy of my address is incorrect. Please change to no other penalty. Mistakes or reason are made to be used against me. In whatever way it seems, everyone, especially former husband, is hoping will be my demise. Again, thank you, former dean. I look forward to meeting you. Sincerely, Sarah Boone. Address issues were also a problem in the second-degree murder case. Here we have another one, and it's a different writing style. Dear Judge Dean, I wanted to take a moment to thank you for allowing me to be in attendance during the case management hearing last Monday, 9/19, so she did get to go. It has been such a long time since good and real has happened to me since being incarcerated for ongoing 3 years almost. I thank you profusely for helping me, listen to me, and having an open heart and mind to me as a human being, a mother. Also, your invaluable time, empathy, and understanding are beyond appreciated. Thank you for seeing me. I am so impressed. My sincerest gratitude cannot be fully expressed for your kindness and goodness. I look forward to any future meetings there may be, and I'm confident my hard work, determination, efforts will not return me void or fall on deaf ears. A victory indeed in my battles and preparation for the war on the horizon. I will not creep away as I continue to be brave and fight on. Thank you for giving me hope more than you know. It was an honor to meet you, Your Honor. I is sorrowful, yet always rejoicing as poor, yet making many rich as have nothing, possessing all things. 2 Corinthians 6:10. P.S. Thank you for seeing that crystal balls do not work at all ever. Dust catchers. Sarah Boone. So she's very happy with the judge. We begin with a quote. We don't owe you anything and are waiting for you to be guilty so we can get out of here and away from you. I don't want to deal with you anymore. I'm going now. Click. Yelling at me so loud the phone is distorting, so former husband, his father, came in and told him to stop being mean to me before hanging up. So that's her son. The son that she is trying to forcefully involve herself with, and he doesn't want anything to do with her at the age of 11 at this point. Honorable Dean. This is what told me by 11-year-old son when I asked about his best friend and how she was doing since he hadn't mentioned her in a while. He told me she started acting strange after he told her he was moving and wouldn't see her anymore. She's upset with him. The conversation continued with me asking why he's still friends with this, as nothing is set in stone and will be discussed when the time comes. Why he's still telling his friends this. So she wants to know, why is he telling his friends they're moving? Oh, we're leaving, and it doesn't matter what you say. We have an attorney. Eventually, it turned into the aforementioned statement. I was laughed at, disrespected, shut down, hung off on by my son over asking about his friend. I'm going to be honest. I would probably, if I was the son in this situation, I would probably feel the same way, that they're going to move. She's done. She's in jail at the very least, and it's going to get approved. I wouldn't be shocked if his lawyer has basically told the father that this is a done deal. We just got to get through it. Basically a done deal. You see, this is where I turn and ask, how is this okay, Your Honor? This is exactly how former husband treats me and has unfortunately successfully passed this disgusting trait to our son. Nonetheless, how dare both of them disregard me in the way they are making me feel I am nothing, no one worthless, and a joke. I'm sick of being laughed at. That is not for the judge to care about, Sarah. That's not what this is about. This is about him moving. This is about you wanting money. If the son doesn't like you, the court cannot make the son like you. If the ex-husband doesn't like you, the court cannot make him like you. I took it something I can't read because it's cut off. Day to talk about with former husband calmly and rationally asked why our son spoke to me that way. He did, and where is he getting the idea you are definitely moving? He's losing good friends over it. Well, that's the plan. I figured you should start getting used to it. 50 mile can be overruled. It means nothing. Laughing. That's why I have an attorney. You don't. We're just waiting for you to be sentenced. The judge knows everything. There's not much you can do or say about any of it. You'll see we're leaving no matter what, regardless of the outcome. I think, and I might be wrong on this, I think that he's basically saying, you're going to be sentenced. You're going to be found guilty. And then no matter what the order is here, then we would be allowed to leave. That's my takeaway here. Maybe I'm insinuating wrong. And here's Sarah, being Sarah. What's the point of me fighting for my life with my son when I'm treated the way I am by both of them? Again, this is not the judge's problem. This is a form of mental and emotional abuse. Please, Sarah, please, listen, this is why I don't think the husband was called for the defense. Because imagine the husband having to explain that she says the same things about him as she said about George. Former husband's encouraging enables it. I'm yelled at for everything. I'm afraid to call for fear I will be obliterated and brought to a new level of low, or try to see how hard I can make it to cry, then laughed at. I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. If I do continue in my fight, which I will and am, I'm disrespected and almost destroyed. If I don't, then look like the uncaring, heartless, incompetent mother former husband is hell-bent on making me out to be. I just started speaking to my son from being screamed at with cruel lies and horrible, mean things that I will not repeat over nothing. I didn't call for 3 weeks because of the shock and pure hurt I am in for what was said. I am made to feel like a chore, burden, or pest. I am not welcomed, like life is better without me. Everything is one-sided. My son never met my parents, grandparents, aunt or uncles, deceased, never knew my family. He only knows the Boones who viciously slandered me. His mother, behind my back, has perpetually made me the dumb black sheep and continuously plotted my demise together. So this sounds just like how she characterized George's family, calling her the blue-eyed white dragon. They've poisoned my son and pitted him against me since day one when I was just 9 days into my incarceration. Former husband took it upon himself to make the egregious decision to tell him I will be gone, and he wouldn't see me for 25 years or longer of his little life. My son cannot be my son and is tortured by the confusion in whether he can be close to me, like we've always been, or even nice to me. I feel, to be honest, our son is just an innocent pawn in the former husband's schemes to seek his sad, bitter, unrelenting revenge against me. His heart is broken plastic and covered in fool's gold. He is not an angel he appears to be. He is an insensitive, callous tyrant and fully endorsed by his family. No one listens to me. I have made the active decision to not call for an undetermined length of time so I can break from the beratement. I can only take the terrors inflicted by former husband in doses. Right now I've gotten my fill from both of them. If my son wants to speak to me, he can write or schedule a visit, which I doubt will happen from the lack of encouragement and inclusion of me to have a relationship with my former husband. Please understand I can only take so much on top of everything else. I love my son. I need my son. Just not this version right now. So she's cutting her son out when he turned on her, right? But her son can't cut her out, but she can cut him off. Maybe I'm being too judgmental, right? That's how I take it. She doesn't believe that either of those two can cut her off, but she can do what she wants. She can cut them off. Kind of like, again, I got to make a George comment, right? She could kick George out, but if George decided not to come back, she would destroy his birth certificate and identification until he came back and then get him arrested. What can I do? What can you do? Please, this is not right. Every time I try to speak to former husband about anything, ends up ugly, unsuccessful. He has taken it upon himself to self-diagnose my case from watching YouTube. Hi, Brian Boone, if you happen to be watching. I am sorry that this is out there in some ways, but I'm also kind of glad for you in some ways that it's out there, because I'm sure Brian Boone has told people quite a few things about Sarah that Sarah disagrees with or they don't know whether to believe. And this is beyond good enough evidence, in my opinion. The only thing better would be seeing it for themselves, right? And of course, Court TV telling me that it was less than 3 weeks away assumes I fired all my attorneys. Remember, I'm only on the 6th. I am on the 6th, but not by choice. This is 6. She ended up with her 10th, right? Constantly tell me how wrong I am doing everything. It keeps asking me why I keep delaying everything. He assumed case details about my witnesses, occurrences, etc. over the phone, telling me about my case. He is assuming everything. He thinks he knows everything about my case. This is wrong. I'm being penalized even more for the wrong, empty accusations, information that only multiplies his anger and spiteful. I can't read the rest of that. It's cut off. Is to do everything I can to keep him here. Ludicrous. Is this saying that he believes that she's doing everything she can to keep him there? I mean, if she's not letting him move. This is why I felt the need, Judge Dean, to hesitantly include you in the ongoing struggles I'm having with my former husband and his inconsistency regarding my life, and the case is never ending and only gets worse. I would also like it known I have not gotten any of my orders for a hygiene kit. Is this the judge's responsibility? Deodorant that works, the toothpaste, and washcloths for a measly coffee package that I began asking for in July after you approved on September 13th during a meeting my ability to start receiving alimony again after former husband immensely diminished and tried to. In the middle of October, there's always an excuse. The most recent for the last 3 months that his debit CC won't work because it's in jail and people steal. He's had to use our son's allowance card just to finally get me a hot meal I mentioned to you, which ended up coming on my birthday, 10/10, only because I told him about this letter I'm writing. I'm still waiting on the other orders so I can be alert and presentable when my attorney does finally show up, who still has not since the last time I spoke to you. She's complaining about her attorney in her other case. And Brian Boone is claiming for 3 months he had issues with the debit card and he has to give her some alimony, is what I'm getting from this. Again, this is Sarah Boone's side. I will say, what a coincidence. I literally went to go use my debit card at an ATM and it wouldn't work because I missed the new card coming in the mail. And then I had to dig through and find the new card, which is a weird coincidence there, personally. Please now also, my bank account, which I've had for 30 years, has closed due to former husband's failure to pay alimony as instructed in our dissolution of marriage agreement. Then also by you, I cannot deposit any checks. One I've been waiting for him to mail me since February and could use towards commissary when he wasn't giving me anything. All of my subscriptions are not being renewed. Anything will auto pay, cannot be approved. I cannot even deposit my alimony former husband is supposed to be paying. It has been in this account for 30 years. He assumed his plan would work and not having to pay. So he withheld, causing this to happen. I have no bank account, Your Honor. I can't read the rest of that. So she's saying it's the husband's fault. Again, this is her side, that he wasn't paying even when ordered, and therefore her bank account closed. A supposedly encounter with his debit CC could have been avoided. Would he have been paying and abiding by the rules? My bank account would still be open. He could have used my debit CC. I would already have the necessities I'm needing. Former husband is his own troublemaker. He makes his life more difficult from all his assumptions and defiant attitude. Even if I wasn't incarcerated, I'd be getting the same problems from him. He keeps tripping over his power trips and talking out on me. Where are my orders? How can I get my bank account reopened? He gets no relief from his own wrongdoings. Everything was okay before he tried implementing all of his agreements and started a second job soothsaying. Yeah, her husband's power tripping. You're yelling about this to a judge. You want the judge to make your son not be mean to you. At least that's what I took from that. So, the constant assaultive, degrading remarks, fear infliction, and terrorizing threats must stop. It makes no difference how soft my approach is in trying to explain former husband how unnecessary and harmful his actions and comments are. being made the example he is our son, giving permission he can do the same, especially to me, his mother, and also to other women futuristically. Oh, so because his son doesn't like his mom, who's in jail for killing her ex-boyfriend, he is now possibly going to do the same to future women who also killed their ex-boyfriends. Sounds like a different scenario, or maybe a scenario he won't be involved in the future. Just stop, please. Former husband tries to taunt me every opportunity he can, get a reaction, knowing he's got the upper hand in almost everything, and gonna laugh it or hang up or both. So you're saying it's unfair that someone who finds himself in an advantageous position laughs at and insults someone. Mine goes back to the videos of Sarah Boone taunting George when he literally couldn't breathe, which is much worse than anything the husband has done, especially since we know the outcome. As said before, I am not helpless. I have God. Well, that's not helping much. And your awareness of my situations, Judge Dean, to hopefully impose your authority in all manner available to provide any permissible relief for everyone. Something needs to be done sooner rather than later. Considering my trial has an unknown date, I refuse to continue cooperating with former husband on any of his terms, and the way they are being handled. Look at the bigger picture. In conclusion, the most painful, horrific remark made to me by former husband so far during my attempt at the call, talk about our son's upcoming birthday, 10/28, with the conversation always turning into exciting, upcoming, I can't read that, told me when you're finally put away, this move will be the best thing to happen to us. Him, son, we can't wait to get out of Orlando away from you, laughing. Also, where we're moving is very close to the prison. It's going to be very easy and convenient for us. I mean, huh. So the husband was wanting to move and is just preemptively saying, yeah, it's near the prison that you're going to end up in. She obviously doesn't like that insinuation. Thank you for your time and assistance, most of all for your understanding. I waited as long as I could in everything to involve you, but don't know what to do or how much more abuse I could endure. I feel you should be included in what's happening behind the scenes when former husband and his attorney aren't sitting in front of you in the courtroom, or you're reading one of their many scheming documents plotting what he can do to me next. You and God, thank you either way, and always sincerely, Sarah Boone. I'm still at a loss why the judge needs to know basically any of this. But I don't think this was for the judge. I think this was for her fans, right? At this point, I'm sure she knew this was all getting out. Judge Dean. Hello again. Per my attempted conversation today to ask former husband, FH, she started abbreviating it now, when he was going to schedule our son's dental appointments and where will he really be ordering the small food, or when will he really be ordering the small food package I've been waiting on for 10 weeks and counting? This was his abrupt and comical demanding response. Hold up. Is he mandated by the judge to give her this food package, or is she just complaining about it? I need to find someone to get my stuff, junk out of the garage and into storage somewhere. However, they're finally leaving. When trying to process what he just dropped on me, I talked to him about it. I was told it's not his problem. I said I'm in jail, as he likes to remind me of daily. It's not that easy, especially when I have no one, money, or resources, which he knows. He said while laughing, I know, still not his problem. Anything left behind will be put in a garage sale or donated. These belongings are some of the heirlooms from my deceased family. The only things I have of them, remember, also baby books, antiques, etc. All of my important, meaningful, historical belongings. Anything left? Well, I already did that. They're still leaving no matter what. It makes no difference what I say or do. I told him about the hearing scheduled on 4/13, and he laughed, saying it's going to happen. How can I be there when my trial starts on 4/10? I keep explaining to him just because there's a date doesn't mean it's going to happen. Then, of all people, I would know if when going to trial, of all people, I would tell him first. Nonetheless, he will be a part of my case and will receive information when, if the time comes, we can plan for participation. So immediately after seeing this, I'm thinking about the fact that Sarah Boone had him as a witness and then didn't call him. And I think I'm starting to think now maybe it was like a retribution thing. Clearly, he has not thought about this and is commuting for however long it may be. And if also, what happens if there's a change of venue? Where will that all, seeing Psychic Brian? How does this all end? So she The way I have to see this, after she adds that part there, she's saying, oh, well, you're moving? I'm going to put you in my case, so you have to show up. And then what if there's a change of venue? You know, I think there was an attempt at a change of venue as well. So was that change of venue an attempt to get back at Brian Boone? Like, this is putting, at least to me, a new insight on some of the things we've seen, new possibilities. I'm incredibly frustrated with his continued ignorance and trying to tell me what's happening, when, where, regarding anything for my case. I am incredibly frustrated with FH, continuously accusing me of keeping them hostage and putting off again. He knows nothing, but what he sees is his crystal ball and on the internet. Stop being an all-assuming, self-righteous, bullying soothsayer. I never owe him any specific details about anything about my case, but will, of course, let him know when I actually am going to trial, if I even am. Oh, Sarah. Oh, Sarah. I cannot do any more than already am and cannot tell the future. No one can. He may not care about the rest of my life clearly. I most definitely am quite sure my son also does. Okay. My name is still in the mortgage. See prior summons I was served, and another undeniable concern of mine I am trying to address. Does FH have to have my signature to sell since my name is still in the paperwork, or does he actually have to remove, as I've been asking for years and also written our dissolution of marriage? In just the last 2 weeks, our son started counseling. Both he and FH are completely nonchalant about it and seem to not even care about the name of the counselor, duration, or any other information concerning why is everything I'm going through all of a sudden so affecting to him. Well, Sarah, you started trying to have a judge tell your son what to do and what to think. So you started not talking to him like you used to. Maybe you're the problem. Maybe they're getting closer to your trial and they need to deal with the fact that he's going to have to go through his mother being in trial with hundreds of thousands of people watching. Or FH. Also, the last letter I received regarding my case was from England. Moving 3 hours away over 120 miles isn't going to solve the problem. So she's saying, I got a letter from England, therefore if they move, it won't fix anything. Remember, Sarah thought that everyone in the world knew about her case, and then they found locals that knew nothing about it. FH thought the effect of it will have on our son moving in the middle of the school year, no friends, possibly even worse pressures, culture shock altogether. How can FH tell if this supposed miraculous move really is in our son's best interest, especially if temporary per the petition to relocate? So if granted they're moving back or again somewhere else when my case is finalized, however, whenever that will be, if FH doesn't care about our son getting good grades or even wearing shoes, why is any of this concern all of a sudden? It's been 3 years. Where the hell did the shoes comment come in? Their petition also states our son has experienced significant difficulties at school. He is an AB student. His favorite class is musical theater. He has 7 friends, sleepovers, a girlfriend, and plays online games with the guys almost every day. Middle school is also a significant problem in itself. See reviews, write-ups, not only for our son, but every child who attends there. If anything, he could be rezoned to another school. So Sarah was just complaining that they shouldn't move because it might not fix problems, but then he should go to a different school. He'll have the same expected capabilities, opportunities, and are closer to me. I'm sure there's also plenty of other very acceptable schools within the authorized 50-mile radius. Has FH even looked into a contract with supposed greater educational opportunities stated in the petition? There are such opportunities closer, maybe even better. Has FH checked, rubbed his crystal ball to see? Why am I never included in anything regarding our son or other undeniable complaint? And in anything regarding our son, undeniable complaint and concern of mine, I see this as yet another secret delight to FH in making this heartbreaking attempted move impossible for me, especially if he sells my car and a bigger disconnect with my son. Nevertheless, per the petition, I will be responsible for my own transportation costs. I'm going to make a big guess here, and you can tell me if you agree. Sarah Boone gifted a bike to George and then claimed it was hers. My guess is that Sarah Boone's car actually fully, exclusively belongs to Brian Boone. And he's letting her use it because she cannot afford her own car. But that car is hers, not Brian Boone's, in her mind. My assumption. Rezone schools. I want to see my son. The move is all about FH. FH admitted to me his parents are selling one of their 4 homes and moving to South Carolina. He wants to be close to them, and Gainesville is closer to Orlando. So he wants to be closer to his family. That's also his son's family. Okay. Please remember all the primary reason FH wants to move has blatantly laughed at me about repeatedly because it's more convenient for him since when they're moving down the street for the prison, so disgusting, the very hurtful, brazen, self-proclaiming assumption is said regularly to me and has been already sent to my previously undeniable concerns more than once. How ugly, wrong. That is the end there. I mean, he was right that you're going to prison. Also, Judge Dean, if I may, are you aware of the prison stipulations in their petitions, bottom fine print? Have you reviewed the long-distance parenting plan, including also, does FH really expect me to drive if he doesn't sell my car? Reminded of daily also. Uber, bus, helicopter, walk back and forth to Gainesville between Friday and Sunday evening. I only even get to see my son every other weekend. I do not at all agree to this or anything. Trying to be forced and threatened in order to have a relationship with my son. I mean, to be honest, like, with all the evidence of the out-of-control drinking, he could probably get exclusive custody. Like, at the very least, even if Sarah Boone was found not guilty, right? Like, I think he could. I will not, no matter what, and FH will never take that away from me. It's not his to take. He does not realize this is all predicted by him and his surety. Everything will fall into place perfectly as he sees, which it did. This is all unpredicted. How can any of this be proposed on predictions? How is any of this even fair? Why has nothing been discussed? Only him making demands absolutely, undeniably ludicrous and wrong. Former husband is using our son as a ploy, and I feel it is selfishly seeking his own gratification and pleasure. As said before, FH, he cannot wait for me to be found guilty, and leaving, he's not even waiting for that if that happens. Please tell me exactly everything predicted is going to happen. Anything, when FH knows nothing. One thing he does know is that all of my concerns are without, in every way, undeniable and all true. He will never admit and just keeps making his retaliations worse because none of my concerns are made up or false, only experienced or still experiencing. Also, that I make his cruel comments, laughter, and actions known to everyone he is not who he appears, nor will he ever be. Again, we have to take her assumption that he's laughing when he does these things, right? This is Sarah Boone's version. Judge Dean. There's also so much more to be said on top of my already legitimate concerns. I've already sent hopes to be remedied. Nothing has changed. Only gotten meaner and worse. FH egotistical, backhanded schemes, assumptions, and plots are unfair and not at all funny. Why does he think he is now that I am incarcerated? Who does he think he is now that I'm incarcerated? Who does he think he is? Probably the parent not incarcerated for second-degree murder. This explains what kind of a person he and his family really are. Sure, go with the family again like he did with George. Therein also explaining many reasons contributing to where I am now. There's way more to it all two sides. What? I'm incarcerated. This explains what kind of person he is and his family really are. Therein also explaining many reasons contributing to where I am now. How the hell is Brian Boone responsible for you murdering George Torres? This is making me, again, remember, she got up there and started doing testimony. Things were going bad for her. And the first time ever, she suggested that maybe she told Brian Boone about George in the suitcase that night. I think she knew she was done at that point, and I thought that then, and that was her trying a last minute, I'll take him down with me. With that being said, Your Honor, I received a copy of a motion to relocate again today, shorter, revised, no prison stipulations or holiday schedules, stating I am only receiving because your J.A. Coffey told his attorney when trying to submit without knowledge as usual, I must be included, otherwise I would not have this. I do not. Anything else filed from anyone? According to the clerk website, multiple documents have been benefited, which have been filed. Included the received copies being a huge complaint and concern our last status hearing back in September 2022. Why am I not getting copies? The only documents I have are the original summons served to me in front of everyone. I am now an obsolete order setting a hearing that isn't going to happen apparently because of all the other orders, motions, answers filed. I know nothing about and can't open online and haven't been sent copies. How am I supposed to prepare responsibly or accordingly and timely when I'm not included in anything other than being told what to do, how and when in terrible, ridiculous person parent I am by FH, unfair in every way, wrong, unjust. Do not know when the new order setting hearing is to happen that just filed or the order filed the same day, since my original letters to you, 123.3 and uploaded 133.1, and 11 other documents have been filed, uploaded, none of which I can view. I only know what I received, summons, petition. Why am I still not receiving copies? As I said before to your honor in the court, this is the only way I'm able to keep updated. I have no reliable, constant outside resources to do anything or really provide information. I rely on the court for this inclusion. Please send me copies of everything being filed so I can review also. I don't even get a copy of any of my letters anymore, which notifies me the judge court received as I have before. Why not still? Please include me, the respondent, on everything I am able to. This is my case also. I'm supposed to be treated equally, fairly, and properly as any party to a case should be, with or without an attorney. This is my life. This is my life with my son. There is nothing more important. I am not helpless nor giving up in any way, especially regarding my son and our life together futuristically. FH needs to destroy the crystal ball and don't quit his day job when he has one. So she's now saying he doesn't have a job. Well, he probably doesn't if he's moving, right? You know, you get a new job in a new location. He also is the one she's wanting all the money from and has wanted the money from, and, you know, when she was with George. I'm sure undeniably by having one and also not relying on his parents' millions, his economic circumstances would most definitely improve in so many ways. So she's jealous of him. She's jealous of him. She lives off of him and she's jealous. Lived, not anymore. Still wants to, actually. She wanted the alimony, right? I am me and am trying relentlessly forever. I believe in myself. I am confident in God. I will get through this. We all will. This is not forever. My circumstances remaining life. Stop trying to make it. I am hoping FH can understand and cooperate as unobtrusive and cordial as possible in order for everyone's life to be successful and happy. This includes me also. Please send us copies so I know when the new hearing is scheduled so I plan accordingly. Please understand, too, that we inmates are woken up at 3 a.m., sit 3 to 4 holding cells for 10 to 14 hours and going to court for 30 minutes of your time. It's also a physical preparation on top of the mental. I very much would like to be ready, please. Thank you for your time, patience, understanding, and copies. Sarah Boone. I mean, she's not making her case better, in my opinion. For contempt scheduled via Zoom 5/11/23 at 9 a.m., I'm in the process of gathering my necessary evidence as requested, but wanted to remind you I am incarcerated and do not have the capability of using a computer to gather statements, calling about, or going to my bank. Even if I did, due to non-payment of ordered alimony by former husband, my bank account, which I had for 30 years, is closed from having an ongoing growing negative balance for an extended period of time. Please know I'm doing all I possibly can from jail, and with what I'm able to submit, I'm confident will suffice, showing not even the agreed ordered sign for $1,000 payment, along with all decreased amounts chosen by former husband to give sometimes, and the everyday payments deductions of my account. Okay. Please note in the meantime, would alimony have been paid, I would not have been have to contact or degraded by former husband every week to ask. He knows when commissary day is and has for over 3 years. I've been here. My bank account would have not been closed 30 years. I would have essentials and needed items. I would not be constantly lied to about I can't read that. Phantom 1 orders and made to ask for updates weekly. Phantom 1, I'm not sure. I would have peace of mind about being able to maintain blood sugar, glucose levels from having available and needed snacks. Oh my God, she wants snacks. If you're diabetic, don't they take care of that in jail? Am I wrong here? Am I crazy? Like, it feels like she's just like, it's not like you don't need alimony to like be a diabetic, right? Like, she just wants snacks. I would not ever have a negative balance. Other participants could purchase care packages for me without having to add money. So in the positive in my account, the only way to order. So she wants him to make it positive on her account so that she can get money from other people. My medications could be paid for when processed. Again, aren't those covered by the jail? My temporary life of incarceration could be, to a small degree, simplified. Former husband would not have to deal with me continuously, and I would not have to keep contacting the court to take up their judge's time to order again former husband to continue paying. Former husband should not have made the decision to disregard the order to pay and made up his own rules along the way. This is contempt. It was never acceptable for former husband to treat me in the very unacceptable way he has and is. I would not be incarcerated, which makes no difference and is temporary or is stated anywhere and agreed to in the dissolution of marriage agreement. Former husband would have had his licenses suspended, wages garnished, or be arrested and put in jail, where he'd get the idea real quick how it really works and understand everything I've been trying to explain to everyone for years now. So she wishes her husband was in jail, ex-husband. With that being said, my main and most important reason for this letter is to please request a copy of my marriage dissolution agreement to properly prepare for the hearing. I refuse to be blindsided, as I was for this last petition to relocate. I've asked former husband many times as well, the Judge Dean, verbally and in writing with no success. Like, you're fighting your husband. Why does he got to help you, right? Like, if you're fighting him in court. This document is a must for the hearing and only fair that I have also. Please send at your earliest opportunity and refer me to where I can obtain immediately. I've been asking for this for 3 years. I want to same advantage in having the document and what the entire hearing is about. Thank you for the opportunity. And this is another one. Whomever actually reads and cares, if anybody, why are you continuing to enable former husband petitioner Brian Boone to break the law and lie to the court, never being reprimanded or even asked about anything? The judge in any case is supposed to be a teacher and a guardian of the law, which includes all rights to all citizens of the United States, no matter being rich, poor, smart, stupid, with, without an attorney. Everyone, including me, who has avidly and diligently fought still and tried everything I can to be treated fairly, properly, correctly in my case. From experience, still have not been ongoing repeatedly. I do not want to be lied to or laughed at by anyone. The judge, the court, are allowing former husband to do as he pleases. He has money. I rot in jail in preparation for prison. I have nothing. Keep losing. To make the court aware, former husband and his attorney lied to everyone and myself during the trial for his temporary petition to relocate 3/29/2023, where he was granted permission to take my minor son away temporarily and move well beyond the 50-mile radius to Gainesville during this trial. When asked by his attorney, former husband said he would be renting a home temporarily, which was understood and granted as being temporary until my case currently is settled and complete. They are buying and moving in permanently. I was told by my son their home is under contract and the process of undergoing inspections to be completed next week. This is not temporary. How is he allowed to keep lying? When someone buys a home, it's permanent. I'm going to teach you something. It isn't. Because if it was permanent, how did anyone ever sell a home? It could literally be cheaper for them to buy the house and sell it after than it would be to rent. He tells me everything is going according to his plan and will be waiting for me to be found guilty. He calls me a murderer. He doesn't care in the least what will happen when everything changes. What will my son think? No one knows the future, and how dare anyone assume they can? How can you allow former husband to keep lying to the court? He is held accountable for nothing. I haven't even processed the fact were even allowed to move before anything has even happened in my case, if it even will, and after I was told by the judge nothing will because you can't have a trial before a trial. That's a lie. It's already happened once without any warning, unfairly and deceptively. She's already been told we can't go through this until the trial ends for your second-degree murder. Judge Dean, what happened to my constitutional rights you stated he was and still is violating during the one and only status hearing has been this case, in which I keep trying to set another for, which has been canceled and me laughed at by everyone. My rights are being violated and approved by you. When my former husband never ever going to be held responsible for any of his innumerable lies, not paying alimony, moving temporarily, etc., etc., etc. I keep being lied to because I am incarcerated and have nothing. Take. His is not a justice system in any way, or this is not. At any level, he lies and gets everything approved. I tell the truth and get nothing. I can't even get a copy of my still active dissolution of marriage agreement to know what exactly I'm owed lawfully by former husband, because I'm now told I have to pay per page. Per the marriage department, I've written 3x and no one will supply otherwise. Also, I cannot have an outside source print mail form from being non-public. Please grant my motion for a case management hearing and without cancellation so Brian Boone, former husband petitioner, can lie directly to the court again when asked why he is now buying a home and why he's still not paying alimony after having been ordered by the judge in court twice, along with my other undeniable concerns I've been trying to have addressed for almost 4 years. From my understanding, the agreement was he doesn't have to pay while her other trial is going on because they're now fighting over whether he has to pay, and she just refused to hear it. That's my understanding I had. This court is allowing former husband to be contempt and continue to be in contempt while I and have been robbed of everything I need, want, and should have by law. Hopefully, also this motion for case management is granted, will be recorded correctly in the minutes for whatever new order may be granted to former husband, unlike the motion for temporary relocation with its numerous clerical errors and documents defining mistake. Apparently, judge, you don't need either of those and should. Still waiting to see what justice is. Peons count too. I have rights. Sarah K. Boone. in the Circuit Court of Ninth Judicial Court in and for Orange County, Florida. Case number Brian C. Boone, Sarah Boone. Motion for case management hearing. Comes now Sarah Boone. Respondent submits a request to the court for a motion to set case management hearing to be scheduled at the court's earliest opportunity for further explanation, clarification, and resolution of the undeniable concerns still pending. Remove non-public status to view print my documents. If unable, please explain why. The non-public status makes it impossible to utilize any contents I need from the website since no one will provide to me, cannot obtain anywhere else. So for this sounds like the reason we have all this is Sarah Boone wanted it public, which is very Sarah Boone. Her former husband, Brian C. Boone, explained reasons to lying to the court regarding buying a home and stated under oath he would be renting as part of the granting of his temporary petition. Please supply a rightful copy of my still active dissolution of marriage. Half former husband Brian C. Boone explained reasons for lying to the court about paying alimony to Sarah K. Boone and not abiding by the still active dissolution of marriage and direct orders by Judge Dean. He delegates what I can and can't purchase with my alimony funds. Also tell me to stop relying on him and being annoying, begging all the time that I might pay monthly owed lawful alimony so I can get another account to be deposited after letting my 30-year bank account close due to non-payment of alimony so I can stop calling every week and every other day for commissary funds, which I had to do ongoing 4 years. So she's admitting she calls him constantly. To be added to my jail account and not to talk to former husband unless regarding my son. He makes me have to call and be annoying for everything for nothing. Just pay like you're supposed to and make everyone's life easier and less stressful. I do not want to be in regular, unnecessary contact with him unless necessary. Again, I was thinking, she just said the judge said you can't have a trial before a trial. My belief was that the agreement and the understanding was he doesn't have to pay right now. Her former husband, Brian C. Boone, explained why I can't or should have been asking since last case management hearing. Stored my car, my last ultimate resource, on a paid lot. I cannot go see my son all the way in Gainesville, go anywhere to get my life back in order when, not if the time comes. I've been forced by former husband and the court to lose my car from non-payment of owed alimony and his permissive contempt. Explain how former husband Brian C. Boone can purchase numerous frivolous items such as a bidet, $1,200, virtual reality video games, controllers, headset, $1,000, alcoholic beverages, rum 2 to 3 times a week, packs of cigarettes every day, eat out and order food every day. This is not Sarah Boone complaining someone else drinks alcohol on occasion and smokes cigarettes. Remember, she just said his money is coming from his rich parents. Maybe they're a gift. Maybe they're paying for it. Does he have to sell gifts? If your parents buy you a bidet, do you have to sell it and give the money to Sarah Boone? If they buy video games for your son, do you have to then sell that and give that money to Sarah Boone if it's from the parents? But he cannot or will not provide my alimony payments so I can purchase what I need. I never have what I need and still do not. Solidify verbal and writing with the court permitting former husband Brian C. Boone to continue being in contempt and not paying as my alimony when it is not stipulated or included anywhere in the active dissolution of marriage regarding incarceration for either party. This is my only source of income for everything. Have former husband Brian C. Boone explain why he lies about ordering anything for me when he does not. He says he does. I have received reprimands for arguing with vendors and officers over the phantom order, so it was phantom, when they were never placed by him. Why is it funny? For almost 4 years, I cannot purchase what I need or because he withholds alimony. So she's gotten reprimands for fighting with vendors and officers because she wants things that she thinks Brian Boone's paying for. I can have someone else order whatever for me whenever it's done on my way. No lies, no problem, no abuse. Former husband just needs to pay so I can without him. Again, he makes me rely on him just to lie and abuse and laugh at. Have former husband Brian C. Boone explain why he lies about him sending anything from my son. February 14, 2023, former husband collaborated with my 12-year-old son to lie to me about making me a card. Both said he went to the craft store and bought supplies. Gift to my son, had him sit down on Sunday afternoon and make it and mailed a completed card the next day. I was told my son wrote me a letter and drew something nice for me, which I really would have liked. It was all a lie. They never went or did anything of it. What an evil, unnecessary lie for no reason. Nonetheless, former husband had my son part of the awful lie. How disgusting and hurtful, no card ever. What does this have to do with alimony? May 14, 2023, Mother's Day card. Former husband has told me 3 times now my son has mailed and created a card. Nothing has come. Another despicable lie. Why so hurtful? Son included. Present date. Pictures, lies, everything. He has sent them over and over with nothing received. The pictures are ordered from a professional website. Other inmates receive pictures regularly, weekly. I've even had the solution to have him send everything to my friend's name. Nothing ever. Keeps lying. So she was trying to have Brian Boone send things to another inmate? Or send it to her and lie and claim it was from another person? I'm not sure there. Whether she was having him lie about who he was sending it to or who it was from, that's weird. Lying, lying, lying. This is abuse, mental and emotional torture. I have pictures, 2 of my now deceased dogs I need for a visit. Explain the importance to former husband. Waiting on going now, 2 months with nothing. I need these. I've already been unprepared for one attempted meeting and was rescheduled for the meeting of the pictures. Still waiting to receive it the next time. I need these pictures. This is important. And what example is former husband Brian C. Boone setting for my son by all his lies all the time? Sarah. At this point, everyone knows you lied to the police multiple times. At this point, your son knows you lied. And you're in jail, awaiting murder charges. And the question isn't whether you killed the man or not. It's okay to treat women this way nonetheless. His mother, my son is constantly conflicted with how he's supposed to treat me and act towards me because of what has been said to him about me and my family. Is afraid. It doesn't sound like he's conflicted. It sounds like he's very much made up. And is afraid Dad will be mad because he's not mean enough to me. My son continuously puts me on mute. Also, I don't hear what Dad is saying while on the phone with me. My son is a different person, not around him. Have former husband Brian C. Boone explain to the court why he believes it is right and appropriate to call me a murderer and keep slandering me, speaking ill of my son, laughing at and mocking. Have former husband Brian C. Boone explain why he never communicating anything to me, especially regarding my son, which will avoid all additional confusion and hurt, and why he feels it's appropriate to decide I don't matter in my son's life. Nothing I say or do is important, and only former husband's decisions, reasons are the best. I am not convicted and still have all my rights intact. I would argue no. She can't exactly have him stay over. Like there's a difference here. Have former husband Brian C. Boone explain why he's not my attorney, since he thinks and assumes he knows all this regarding my case more than me. He thinks and assumes he knows all regarding being incarcerated more than me. He thinks and assumes he knows how it all works, letters I write, how much commissary costs, the constant price raises, the regularity and cost of my medical expenses. That I am charged every day to be here in OCCD, rules, regulations. He knows nothing about anything. I tell him I have printed documents showing all the costs incurred as being incarcerated so he understands, which I have prepared as my evidence. Also have recorded phone calls from my contempt hearing, which have been postponed, allowing former husband to continue contempt and stop being so simple-minded regarding my case. Stop being another ignorant, retarded follower of all the other ignorant, retarded followers. Shh, stop. Maybe don't add the shh, Sarah. Maybe don't do that. We've seen the video by now. You know the video's out there by now. Undeniable orders by Judge Michael Dean to Brian C. Boone, former husband, have not been upheld or abided by, and in violation as ordered, they continue to multiply in severity and duration of time and destruction, being unlawful, extremely inappropriate, altogether wrong. Former husband is contempt, stealing, lying to the courthouse, myself, the court judge, myself. Whereas Sarah K. Boone, respondent, respectfully requested his honorable court, please grant this motion enter its order as set and keep a case management hearing regarding all undeniable aforementioned legitimate overdue concerns owed explorations regarding from former husband petitioner Brian C. Boone. Sarah K. Boone, respondent, has attempted private resolution, cooperation, discussion with petitioner numerous times over the past almost 4 years while incarcerated, being unsuccessful in every aspect due to the fact that foremost, former husband Brian C. Boone has the understanding from the court his behavior, degrading, inappropriate comments, and ongoing lies are approved and able to continue. That's my understanding too, Sarah. Maybe I'm wrong. That's my understanding at this point. Clarification, remedying, and solidification are requested to all undeniable concerns for all parties, including in this case to avoid further confusion, difficulties, lies, abuse going forward, especially for respondent Sarah K. Boone from petitioner Brian C. Boone. Thank you, Sarah K. Boone. Now this, I think is the letter I've previously replied to, made a video on. I'm going to read it anyway for completeness. Motion to read letter from respondent and schedule case management hearing. Judge Michael Dean, in all my attempts 16 times to protect myself and help from the still ongoing hate, lies, slander, degradation, cruelty, active abuse from former husband Brian C. Boone, nothing has been approved, made better, corrected, relieved in any way for myself or response from former husband in court or judge. I have tried everything. I have made innumerable requests and sent many letters asking for aid from all success or assistance, listening or care by anyone other than myself, trying to relieve or altogether stop this inappropriateness, bitterness, anger, and wrongdoing. Please see list below of my letters sent to you in the court, per the Records Management Division of the Court of Clerks, for the third time trying to get a copy of my active dissolution of marriage agreement. I cannot have because we are wanting payment in order to receive, and I am in jail. I also have no bank account after the one I had closed for 30 years due to non-payment of alimony from former husband, stated in prior letters. And this is a list of her letters. So I stopped separating it out here. I am going to continue, but I need to get up and do some things. This is the letter I've previously covered, so I'm going to just be going through that again. I don't know if there's more. As I said, I'm not looking ahead. I'm trying to come into this as blind as possible. That's how I like to cover the letters. I like to cover them blind and have my live reaction, whatever it is. It is appalling how uninterested, uncaring, and nonchalant you and the justice system are about my side in any of this, and will not listen without the right paperwork, attorney, knowing I am actively being taken advantage of and wrongfully mistreated by former husband Brian C. Boone. You have continuously enabled him and given him a self-appointed right and understanding to keep doing, saying, and taking everything wrongfully and illegally from me. So is she admitting that the court just disagreed with her, and she's telling the judge she's wrong? Including and especially the love and respect for my own son. It's not okay. They can't court order your son to love you. I'm sorry. You're a killer. That's why I'm not doing anything. Former husband said in front of son on phone. You are not important to anyone. Former husband, numerous dates. You are not priority. Former husband, numerous dates. You're right. You're not priority. You are in jail. He needs to take care of his son and do what's best for his son. You should understand that as a mother, but I don't think this is about you wanting to be a mother. I think this is about you wanting control. Dad says you're annoying and beg all the time. Son told me after asking him to ask former husband if he finally ordered a book and hot meal after being made to call daily to check for 13 weeks. So she's using her time speaking to her son to complain of wanting cash, wanting items, wanting property. I lie to you because I can. Dad does all the time. Son, you make no difference in our lives. Former husband, numerous dates. That's okay with you and acceptable, Judge Dean? Is that what you are giving him permission for and keep doing in front of my son? Yeah, he can do what he wants in front of your son. He can say those things. Yes, Sarah. Yes. Yes. He doesn't have to like you. He doesn't have to placate you. The son doesn't have to like you. You are in jail actively for killing a man. You lied to the police. We know this. You know this. They know this. And the argument wasn't even that you didn't kill him. The argument is what punishment you would get, if any, for killing this man. Why won't you stop any of his abuse, verbal, mental, and emotional? Why don't you stop calling, Sarah? If you don't like it, if it's too hard on you, you just said earlier that you stopped calling for weeks when it upset you. Why don't you just stop calling? Why aren't you, as my judge, doing anything to hear, understand both sides? It sounds like he did, and he told you, from my understanding, that you have to wait until your murder case is over to try to get alimony. What else needs to be done by my former husband in order for you to help me? You've been told what happens. What else can I do I have not done already for any relief on my side? Stop enabling judicially. You must know this is wrong and how I am being treated. I am told every time when trying to reduce any anguish or mistreatment from former husband, cooperate trying to help. The judge doesn't care what you write. My son now says the same thing when I correct him on how he's being mean and rude to me. The judge doesn't care what you write because you keep writing it, and obviously he doesn't care. Anyone watching this, reading these, can understand that. He's never going to do anything for you until your trial is over, and even then it will still be in my favor, which is probably correct. My other document is ready to go, so I can take the rest. I have an attorney. You deserve nothing. You mean nothing. Then former husband gets his precious attorney to file another denying allegations because I'm telling you the truth all the time about his awful lies, and I am right. So is she just lying as well? Remember, this is Sarah Boone. Do we trust her? Judge Dean, so I have to continue taking former husband's abuse, neglect, unlawful actions, cruel comments, and hate until my trial, if when it happens, however long it will be now, considering my attorney has withdrawn from my case and no date of trial is known or will be for an undetermined amount of time. How much more hate and disrespect will former husband encourage my son to keep lying and overall being mean to me as mother? Former husband is teaching and reflecting a terrible example of how women can and should be treated, nonetheless, the mother of his child. Well, how about the example you put for the person you're dating? How they should be treated. This is egregious and wrong. Please read my prior motion for case management agreement hearing I said on 6/28/2023 with no response to date. I am requesting again, please, to schedule. It is fair and are too many topics to be discussed, including my attorney to write and only have one pen. Necessary law, active, important topics with a certified notice of delinquent support file on 8/3/2023. Please grant my motions and schedule my imperative overdue meeting. Everyone needs and must have the same understanding now and the future is fair. What else can I do? What's left for begging, which former husband says I do all the time? What am I doing wrong in order to be treated rightfully, properly, ethically correct in order to finally receive your judicial assistance? Sounds like the judge has told you what's happening. How am I have been treated by former husband Brian C. Boone in unfair, malicious wrong and should not be in any way allowed to continue. Stop. Please see. Please listen. Please help. Judge Dean, what is the reason for your comment made in your courtroom about former husband violating my constitutional rights? If you're not going to help or uphold said rights and unlawfully allow me to use, what's the point? What do I even have? You know I do in order for you to remark and see they are being violated. Please schedule. It is my right. It is fair. Sincerely, Sarah Boone. Please send a copy of this letter so I know it was received and will serve as my receipt. So from my understanding, I believe, this is from memory, in my previous video covering the alimony, there was also a response from the judge explaining they've already told her that all of this has to be handled after the murder case because they can't make a decision about whether they have to pay alimony until they know how long she's going to be incarcerated. That's pretty long. What do you think? What do you think? I'm looking at this from the end of the case, right? We've seen the case, we've seen the verdict, we haven't seen the sentence yet. I couldn't help myself making the comparisons to how she treated George. Because I see it here. Let me know what you think. I'm pretty blown away. I'm pretty blown away by how Sarah is just so nonchalant. Well, his parents are rich. He has money. Like, even when the judge is, from my understanding, telling her repeatedly that he doesn't have to give her money. Blows me away. Again, pinned comment will have the YouTuber that I took these screenshots from. These are Sarah Boone's letters. They just happen to be covering them. I don't have the PDF, and I thought this would just be the quickest way to get this out to you. I'm going to go edit this. I'm going to go upload it. I'm going to get this playing ASAP, and I'll try what I can to be in chat as much as I can. We'll see how that goes. More than ever, after reading all of this, I am glad the son's away. That's my opinion. I'm glad the son is free. I'm glad Brian Boone is free. For the foreseeable future, possibly forever. Hopefully. They don't have to deal with her without their consent ever again. If they want to, that's different. But her imposing herself on their lives, hopefully that is over.